What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a team building guide for the new Blue Gogeta EZA that has just dropped here on Global. So the category weakness here that we're going to be fighting against is movie bosses, and obviously we're just going to be fighting against the AGL Gogeta the entire time. So yeah, the movie boss category has gotten some recent buffs. So this should be a fun one. I think that this one's definitely not going to be too hard. Some of the strongest units on this category are very, very defensive, so that's going to help you out quite a bit in this EZA. The main thing, which we'll talk about right away here as we get into looking at our very first card, is that some of the strongest units are STR type, and obviously we're going to be going against this AGL Gogeta the whole time, so STR units are going to have a little bit of a tougher time, but I think some of these units are so good that it probably won't matter too much. So the first unit that we've got here is the STR LR Final Form Cooler. He is perfect for this because he is a full 170% movie boss lead, and if you are able to make a full transformation boost team out of this as well, you can actually run a full 200% team with this guy as your leader. So though he is STR type, he'll be providing a 200% leader skill to the category, which is really, really advantageous. And if you run him in the third slot just as a floater, and you're able to get off a lot of his additionals, because he has so many additional attacks that can happen here in his passive, and he's able to, build up these extra stats and stuff, then I imagine he could still tank decently, especially if you get lucky enough for him not to get hit with a super attack. That could be really, really good. And then if he's getting off some critical hits as well, then he is going to, then he's going to definitely do some damage for you as well. So, yeah, this guy definitely could be a good idea. So the next leader that we've got here, if you want to avoid the STR type characters, then this Turles card could be a really good idea. He's another full 170%, to movie bosses. He doesn't have an extra 30% for any type of 200% leader skill, but everyone will be on the full 170, which should be plenty enough to take this down. He is a really solid support type unit, as well as being able to hold his own. He's going to be giving some attack boosts to all allies and stuff. And he's actually going to be giving this defense boost because there will be a superclass enemy. So basically he's giving key 3 attack and defense 40% to all allies, so that is perfect. And I actually don't believe this portion is going to activate his attack lowering on the enemy, because you can't lower the attack of enemies in Extreme Z battles. So yeah, keep that in mind. And then he also does have this chance to transform for you and just become an absolute behemoth, potentially, if your HP gets low enough for that to happen. Okay, so then we've got the Int Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, another 170 lead for movie bosses. He actually has only the 130 HP, so far this is like the worst leader that you could run, but if you don't have those other guys, he's definitely a decent option. He's getting these infinite attack and defense raises, lots of additionals built into his passive here, some crit chance built in, some damage reduction built in. Very solid unit overall. Unfortunately, he's not going to be getting the later portion of his passive, which is actually kind of like half of it. He gets like a lot of extra ki, some extra crit chance and damage reduction when there's a pure or hybrid Saiyans category enemy. That's not going to be the case here. Yeah, they don't count fusions. I'm actually almost 100% sure that they don't count this guy as a pure Saiyan. Super Saiyans, yeah, they don't count him as a pure Saiyan, even though he's literally 2 pure Saiyans put together. It just doesn't count. Because of the fusion itself, they say that it's no longer pure. But it's also not hybrid Saiyans, because the 2 Saiyans that make up this card are pure Saiyans themselves. It's kind of weird. So yeah, he's not a pure or hybrid Saiyan, so just keep that in mind when using this Broly here. Okay, so this is an even better Broly. Keep in mind, though, that they have different names. The Legendary Super Saiyan Broly and then just the Super Saiyan Broly, so you can use them on the same team if you like to. But this guy is actually getting his EZA alongside the Gogeta. So if you do his EZA first, then his leader skill is going to get buffed to be a full 170% for movie bosses, and he'll be a really, really strong leader to use as well. And then obviously his kit goes a little bit crazy, and he will be able to to hold his own offensively and defensively in this, EZA for sure. Okay, so then we've got the physical LR Janemba here. He is a decent sub leader, 150% to movie bosses, so that is still pretty suitable if you were, to bring him as your leader and then just make sure you bring like a 170 or 200% friend lead, then you'd be perfectly fine. This guy is going to be guarding all attacks as the first or second attacker in turn, so if you throw him in slot 1, he's going to be an awesome tank for you. And then he has a high chance to nullify Ki Blast supers. Is this guy doing Ki Blast super attacks? Let's see here, actually. We'll double check the highest rarity. No, the Stardust Breaker is not a Ki Blast super. There would be a little Ki Blast symbol here if it was. So it's just a special super attack. Okay, so Janemba is actually not going to be able to nullify his super attacks, but the guarding should be plenty enough for him to tank well in this. Okay, so next up we have the Carnival LR Metal Cooler here. He is going to be a really, really solid unit just to run on the team. He'll be putting out a lot of damage for you, and he's got some decent defense in there as well, especially if you're able to get him built up. He has to, I believe, take some hits. Yeah, right here. So he's getting some additional stats with each attack received there. And then he's also going to be recovering a lot of HP, which is very, very nice. If your HP ever gets low, then he'll recover 10%. Well, he recovers 10% at the start of turn, and then if your HP is low, he gets an additional 10% on top of that. I believe he also recovers, 10% at the end of which an attack was received. And then he gets an additional 5% if there's another Metal Cooler in the same turn, which we'll go over a little bit later. So he's not going to get the Nullifying because we just established that he doesn't have unarmed super attacks or Ki Blast super attacks, right? But the main thing with this character is that he gets a revive, and it's a conditionless revive. So if he's on rotation, if you're running this guy potentially as your leader, you could build a full Wicked Bloodline team here. If you're running him as your leader and your friend leader, then you're going to have basically one unit on each rotation who has the opportunity to give you this revive if you get killed. So he is a pretty good lifeline for an event like an EZA where you can't use any items for sure. Okay, so I put this guy right after because he is also Metal Cooler. They have the exact same name, so you'd have to choose between using, either one of these guys. They'd both be suitable leaders for sure if you wanted to run a Wicked Bloodline team. Obviously, the physical one would be better. But this guy is probably going to be defensively better for sure. He doesn't give you quite as much healing. He doesn't have the revive chance, but I think he's going to be doing a little bit more damage, and he definitely is going to be better defensively for sure. So yeah, keep that in mind when using this guy. Also, if your HP falls below 50%, then he gets the transformation into the Cooler Core, and you'll be able to get some free turns of like Giant Transformation as well. That'll help you do some additional damage. Okay, so next up we have the Golden Friezas, the AGL and the Tech Golden Frieza. Obviously the Tech Golden Frieza is going to be better for this event because he'll have type advantage, but both of them are going to be amazing tanks. You can only use one, but either way, if you throw them on the team, they're just going to reduce all the damage they receive and not take any damage, so they could be really, really solid. Especially consider using them if you're using a lot of Frieza units or Wicked Bloodline units on your team, because then their links are going to match up very well. They're going to help out your other units that are meant to be damage dealers hit a little bit harder. Okay, so then we have the Tech Janemba here. Okay, so this is one of the first units here where it's probably not going to be the best leader for you. I suppose if you're missing a lot of those other units. Well, actually, if you're missing most of these other units and you're not able to build a leader out of any of those, then you're probably going to have a tough time taking on this event, because as you can see here, we're almost to the end of the list of usable characters. It's pretty much like just about every character that you can use in here that'd be strong on the team happens to be a really good leader for the team. So yeah, you can mix and match, a lot of these units into different ways. This is the first unit here that probably isn't going to be the best leader skill for you, though. There's definitely not a lot of Corroded Body and Mind cards on movie bosses, just the Janemba cards, but because you can only use same name units once, you can't like fill it out with all these Janembas, right, because they all have the same name. But this guy is going to be really solid. He guards all attacks, and then he's going to be an amazing support unit as well if you're able to get off the 4 type key spheres and then the 2 or more rainbow key spheres with him as well. So a little bit conditional, but if you can make those conditions happen, then this guy is super, super solid. Okay, so we have the tech transforming Frieza. Definitely not the powerhouse that he once was. He's getting aged out a little bit here, but he still should be good enough to take on this event. Especially, the main reason I have him here is because he's tech type, so he has the type advantage, you know, against the Gogeta, so that will help him out quite a bit here. But because he is a unit that needs to ramp up a little bit and transform every turn, he's probably not going to be like the most amazing, because you're only ever going to see him at first form or maybe into second form. You know, as he comes back like on the 3rd turn or something. But obviously EZAs are very short fights, so you're not going to get a chance to see the maximum capacity out of this guy. But he can be really good on a Frieza build for this event. And then the last unit I wanted to talk about here is this free-to-play cooler here. I just wanted to mention him because he's tech type. He has type advantage, so that can be helpful for him. He raises defense on super, which is nice. And then he is getting some additional defense with each attack performed. So if you got additionals on this guy, getting an additional super attack could be really, really good, because you're getting some extra defense for the turn, and then you're also getting these double defense raises on super. So he can actually tank decently well, especially if you're able to get additionals. But the main reason I have him here is because of this portion. He is a Terrifying Conqueror's support. So if you run a build that has a lot of Terrifying Conquerors on it, then this guy is going to be supporting most of those units on the category, as well as himself. So yeah, this guy could be a really, really solid option as well. So yeah, that's basically all of the units that we are going to take a look at. Every unit that I thought was like the most notable for this category. Obviously, there are quite a few units on this category. There are still a lot more that you could potentially sub in there. They're just like not amazing units, so I didn't want to include them on that list. And then obviously there are some really strong units in the STR portion here, but they are STR and have type disadvantage, so that might be a bit of a hindrance for you. So let's go ahead and switch over to in-game, and I'll show you guys a few team builds that I made for this event. And, you know, a few example teams that I put together out of these characters, and then we'll finish up. Alright, so this is the first team that I have put together here. This is actually a full 200% team. So even though we have a few STR units on here, both of these cooler cards, they're actually really, really strong, and they can probably still hold their own defensively here. And then, you know, barring getting critical hits, they'll be able to dish out a lot of damage too. But the main reason that I have this team build put together is because all of these units are on the 200% portion of the Final Form Cooler's leader skill. So you're going to be running a full 200% team. This is going to be very, very strong. And you can always just float off the STR units and then have like the Tech Golden Frieza and then one of your Janembas be your slot 1s. And then you're going to be tanking very, very well. So this is the next build that I've put together. It's a STR-less build, so if you didn't want to bring any of those cooler cards that might get you killed, this is a decent option too. Being able to run the Brolys together could be very strong. Obviously, you need to get this Broly EZA'd first if you're going to use this build, because pre-EZA, this guy is absolutely garbage. He will not be usable for you at all. But yeah, with this build, you could also run the Turles as your lead. It'd be the exact same thing, right? Because they're both 170 to movie bosses. So it's up to you who you'd want to bring as your friend lead as well. You could bring either one of them as the friend lead for this build. But all of these units are on movie bosses, so as long as you bring any of the units that have a movie boss leader skill, you're going to be perfectly fine. And then here, I did want to mention the Broly, Chila, and Lemo. The only reason I have them on here is because of the portion of their passive where if they receive 7 or more key spheres, then they guaranteed dodge. So basically, this team, having them on the team is like, it's important to make sure that they get the 7 key spheres. So I would say be planning ahead for that in like future turns to make sure that when they come onto rotation, they're going to have the 7 key spheres available. That's going to be really, really important to seeing them perform well. Okay, so this is a cheeky one that I put together. It's another 200% team. All these units are on the 200% Wicked Bloodline leader skill here for Cooler. So this is an example of how you could run him as a leader and then just another one of him as a friend, and you'd have that revive chance. Notice that this team is full free-to-play besides the leader. All of these units are free-to-play, and remember that all of these free-to-play cooler cards actually have different names because they're subtitled with the typing that they are, so you can run them all on the same team together here. And if you'll notice, we were able to avoid putting any STR characters on here. We just took off the STR coolers, and then we replaced them with this Terrifying Conquerors support, who is supporting everybody on this category here, or everybody on the team. So yeah, I think if you're missing a lot of pay-to-play options, this could be a good base build to go with. You know, this is a solid free-to-play team. I think this team itself could even get it done. But if you happen to have a few of the units that we were talking about, this last team that I put together is pretty much the same team, but with some pay-to-play options, and then you're able to build like pretty much a full tech team with it. And then, you know, you would have more type advantage. This team is obviously better than the free-to-play one. But yeah, just an example of a way you could shake that up if you had a few extra units to use. So yeah, I hope you guys you know, found this informational or helpful. Hopefully you're able to take one of these teams into that event and absolutely destroy it. But yeah, good luck on the EZA, and I am stoked to get this guy EZA'd myself because he's really, really good. I cannot wait to use him. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, then consider being a part of the Toxic Tribe with the like, comment, and subscribe on the video. That is going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!